This is Rockin' with Jammin'. It's with Cameron from Carbellion. So how you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Just enjoying life, enjoying my first weekend off of school. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
so for those who are watching and unfamiliar with you, can you tell me all about the band and yourself?
Sure, man. Name's Cameron Kellenberger. I'm the lead singer for Wisconsin-based heavy rock band Carbellion. Carbellion started out quite a few years ago. Probably too many to say at this point, right? More than 10. We'll just say we're coming up on some significant anniversary stuff next year. So we play hard rock, heavy rock. Um, Kind of in the vein of like some of the stoner rock stuff, some of the stoner metal stuff, a little bit grungy at times, right? So, that's kind of what the band sounds like. I've done some touring. We've done a lot of stuff over the years, recorded quite a few LPs and EPs. At this point, kind of our latest and greatest stuff is we just did a full length record and released it on Eclipse Records for digital distribution, and then on Qumran Records out of Chicago for vinyl records. So kind of a joint deal, two different record labels, and that record is Weapons of Choice, and that came out in March of this year.
So you're listed as a stoner rock. Is that because you love puffing down those trees, or are you
No,
fans of the stoners, or is it both?
no, it's actually, stoner rock's kind of a broad term, right? I mean, it kind of comes about if you're influenced by Black Sabbath a great deal, and you've got that kind of Black Sabbath sound a bit. It's not full on metal. It's not hair bands. It's not any of that kind of stuff. It's more big riffs, big drums. It's kind of classic rock influence, but then you throw like a lot of dirty tone on your guitars and it kind of gets that Sabbath feel. And that's kind of how we get brought into that stoner rock, stoner metal thing. It's less about the stoner side of it, to be honest.
You just put out a new album, Weapons of Choice. I heard there's some tracks, man. There's some pretty good stuff in there.
Yeah, man. I mean, we put a lot of work into this record. We started working on it kind of right before the pandemic hit. It took that long to come out because of the pandemic in March 2020 when that really took hold and kind of shut the world down for a while. We put it on hold, but it allowed us time. We all worked remotely to really write the rest of the songs and really flesh out what we think are 10 really good tracks. Um, Having that time, we weren't playing shows, we weren't focused on other things, we were just kind of focused on that. So that made all the difference. Um, and I think the quality and the wholeness of the record. Yeah.
What made you want to do a track about the outsiders?
So Brent, our drummer, is like hugely influenced. The movie, the book, he grew up with that, and it was just, really, really meant a lot to him. So he wrote a tribute song for it. And he wrote the lyrics for it. He wrote the music idea for it. That became Pity the Backseat, which is, the name Pity the Backseat of the song comes right from the movie. Um, and yeah, there's the whole lyrical content, pretty much everything to do with it, is all about that. And that's, yeah, Brent Nims, our drummer, that's his tribute to that movie and that book.
So, growing up, were you a social or a greaser?
Definitely, we would all be more greasers, man. We uh, not necessarily the cool kids in school that way, more into the music side, working on cars. We were all car guys, motorcycle guys, that kind of thing. So definitely the greaser side for sure.
What a crazy concept that is. Like, I get there will be always be cliques growing up that don't like each other, but that was the entire town. You're either a social or a greaser, and you need to fight to the death.
Yeah, I mean, the concept, I think, it's a bit of a metaphor, right? But it's like you could say it's the haves and the have-nots, right? The people with money, the people that are more affluent versus the people that are a little more blue collar, or maybe the have-nots, right, that are really struggling to make ends meet and just trying to get by. And I think that's really more what it's about, you know.
Our society today is too pussified to do anything like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't see a lot of the movies and a lot of the material and even some of the stand-up comedy that came out back, not that long ago, would not really be tolerated or accepted probably today the same way, which is, hopefully over time, they say the pendulum swings back and forth as far as kind of how things work. And I would hope that we get back to being a little more accepting, a little bit thicker skinned on things that are just not that important or not that relevant, to people get offended a bit easy. I guess I'd
Yeah,
say that.
a little bit softer now.
Yeah, for sure.
When you were growing up, what would you have done if there was a designated safe space if you felt like you were being teased?
I don't know, man, because it's like, knowing what I know now,
Hmm.
I would think it's ridiculous. But if I had never known any different as a little kid and came up in that, I mean, maybe I would think that's the way things are supposed to be. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like, I guess what I would say is it's going to be tougher and tougher. I mean, a lot of kids today, are it's weird to say, are overly sensitive but desensitized. So what I mean by that is like one-on-one communication, people talking in person, looking people in the eye, kind of like the texting in the modern world the smartphones and everything has really pushed people to not have to communicate directly and not have to communicate with different kinds of people. And so I think that creates a bit of a bubble around people. And I don't know how communication is going to really evolve, and what that'll mean. And will people need safe spaces? I don't know, man. It's tough.
All I can say is stay golden, pony boy.
Stay gold. Yeah, there you go.
Do you plan on doing a follow-up track about Stand By Me?
No, I mean that hasn't really been talked about. That's funny though, and probably a good idea. I mean, another great movie, great story, um, but not something we really thought about. No,
So, talking about your album, what is your weapon of choice?
the microphone, man.
The
It's the
microphone?
microphone. It's
Would you
my
say
pulpit. That's where I get to tell everybody what I think, and I'm the only one with the mic at the time that we're playing. So that's my weapon of choice. You probably ask the other guys, and they'd probably say their respective instruments. That would be my guess.
any plans for a tour this year?
So we've done some dates. We played Rockfest in Cadott, big major music festival. Pantera headlined the night we played. We've got some kind of key dates throughout the rest of the year. We're just playing selective shows. We're not doing full on touring. But we got some big shows coming up. Big one in Milwaukee with Delacoma from Australia. Um, Big one in October with label mates on Qumran Records. Diggeth. Diggeth is from the Netherlands, 3-piece heavy rock band. Guitars in the air, just great band. They're coming over. We're going to do a date or two with them. Yeah, and then we got Apostles of Solitude. That's a Merciful Mike production show that's going to take place up in Milwaukee area, Wisconsin. They're from Indianapolis. They're coming up on tour, so we're going to do a date with them. That's going to be a great show. Next year, we're talking about doing some touring. Like we're actually probably going to get out there a little bit. We're having some conversations with a couple festivals in the UK, one in Scotland and one kind of south of London. That's kind of coming to fruition. I think it's going to happen. So that'll be like a couple-week tour we do over in the UK for the first time. We've never been there, so yeah.
The news keeps on threatening us with another lockdown by October. Does that make you worried?
It makes me worried that people might take it, too seriously, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I think that I'd like to think, I'll speak for myself specifically, not necessarily the band, but I'd like to think that we learned a lot about what works, doesn't work, and what to do and not to do. And I don't think locking down accomplished a whole lot. It did a lot of damage globally, not just here in the U.S. Um, it worries me that people might be hoodwinked again by some of the misinformation that's out there. I mean, the CDC and the World Health Organization has now come out with a lot of stuff regarding the vaccines, regarding lockdowns, regarding masks, regarding and the ineffectiveness of a lot of it. I mean, we're seeing some of that. So I it worries me that it might come to fruition. Personally, I'm not for it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think the damage done is way worse, to local businesses, to kids in school, to way worse than the outcome of the 0.04% of people that, unfortunately, you know, uh, the coronavirus got to, which is a sad thing. But again, everybody was so negatively impacted by it that, yeah. So I hope not.
Yeah. So you won't think there would never ever be another full scale lockdown, like would ever happen again, or you? So do you think that if people would have enough and they would not comply this time, if a lockdown like something like that happened again?
I think it'd be very difficult if it's in the near future, right? I mean, you talk about 20 years from now, people forget, but I think if they try to do something in the next 2 to 5 years, maybe even 10, I don't think people will comply as easily. It's really going to have to be a legitimate, you look at something like Ebola, right, with a 99 something percent death rate that kills people, right? That's a different thing than what, you know, um, Corona was. So, um, so yeah, I don't think people be as willing to accept widespread government control and lockdowns.
What was life like for you guys on the road?
We were touring a bunch. It's been a little while, but when we were touring a bunch, man, it was like, five guys in a van with a trailer, cutting pavement, going down the road, listening to cool tunes, playing every night, in different cities and towns around the US. We toured through Texas quite a bit, toured out west all the way to LA and back, played Birmingham, Alabama, down in Louisiana, did a bunch of stuff, played all over the Midwest. And it's days kind of go in days, just like kind of roll through, Um, it got the band a lot tighter. I mean, I tell you, when you're playing every single night, you get really tight. The band got really good live, So it was a good time. We always centered our touring. A lot of our touring was around like eating in restaurants, right? Like, so we're all big foodie guys, so we probably hit every solid Tex-Mex and Mexican place, in any going through Texas all those times, it was always food's a big part of it, food's a big
Yeah.
part of it.
So you guys go to like a lot of buffets or something?
And not really so much buffets. Try to get into the kitschy local joints, try to find out where the good local spot is, that's kind of what we'd normally try to do.
So what's the best venue you've ever played?
Oh, that's tough, man. Best venue. I mean, there's some definite. I don't know if I pick a best one, but I could pick a handful of good ones. The Dead Horse in San Angelo, Texas, is just a killer room, killer venue. The people that used to own it were always great to us. People that own it now seem to be doing the right stuff, so that's a great venue. Um, you know, I tell you, around here, Route 20, the place called Route 20 that's here in Wisconsin, had what used to be really good to us, played some great shows there. Buck Cherry opened for them, opened for Crowbot, opened for Blackstone Cherry, had some really good times there. 1175 is another spot around here that we're looking to get into. That's a really good club. Um, we played the well, let's see, the Nick in Birmingham. That was a really cool, legendary place. That was a neat venue. Playing Rockfest this summer. I mean, that was huge, man. 50,000 people, there, and we played this one of the side stages, and there was thousands of people there, and the sound was rad, and everybody was super into it. So yeah, there's some highlights, man. There's so many over the years. We played the Rave a bunch in Milwaukee over the years. That's a legendary venue, in Wisconsin. Everybody's played it. We opened for Motorhead there some years ago before, obviously, Lemmy Kilmister passed away. So yeah, man, the list goes on and on. There's so many. Too hard to pick just one.
What's the worst venue you've ever played?
Oh boy,
That's another tough
that's
one.
that's another tough one. We've played some real dumps, man. Some real real crappy venues over the years. Tough to say. I mean, we played a place I won't say the name of in Louisiana, and it was kind of cool in a way because it was such a dump. But we literally played behind chicken wire fence, like in the movies. I mean, it was
Oh,
like that kind of a dump.
oh,
Um, real backwoods. The opening band was this metal band, and they're getting ready to go up, and then it turns out the guy who's working the cook in the kitchen for this bar basically comes out, takes off his apron and his shit, picks up a guitar, and he's in the band. I mean, it's just like,
Oh my god.
what is going on here,
Uh,
right? So I wouldn't say that was just like one of these kind of like what is going on shows, right?
yeah.
That comes to mind. Um, yeah, I tell you, anywhere that we play, and we've got a guarantee. And when we get there, and then they decide they want to try to negotiate the guarantee when we're there, that's not cool, man. Like we've already got an agreement. So any of the venues that have done that, we don't tend to go back to. Um, so yeah, we've
Dude.
played in front. We played some gigs in front of no, like a couple of weekday gigs out of town where it was like, while we were touring that, they didn't know who we were, and nobody was there. We played for like, the bartending staff, and the sound guy. So we've done a few shows like that sucked, but we're fortunate. Most of our shows are really good. I mean, we lots of people, good venues, good staff. We've been fortunate.
Dude, I'm so messed up, dude. When you were talking about that backwoods place and you said that guy took off his apron, I thought he
Yeah.
flashed you guys. That's what I was like.
No, 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 no. He was cooking, man. He was just some guy working there, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the band." Gets up and goes on stage. It was very weird.
Yeah. What do you have a ritual before you go on stage?
Not so much, man. I mean, we've done it for so long now, and we've played so many shows. I mean, like, we always kind of do a fist bump. Everybody in the band make sure we all fist bump check before we play. We've done that for over 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let's do this. Kind of like quick check in right before we fire it up and play. So, you know, not really a whole lot. Nothing specific beyond that, I don't think.
What is your favorite memory from playing a show?
Favorite memory playing a show, man. I don't know. That's really tough too. I mean, one of the stories I tell a lot when we opened for Motorhead, right? We didn't actually get a chance to like meet them or get introduced and stuff. It was only one date. We weren't on tour or anything. But it was at the Rave in Milwaukee, and we had kind of backstage, side stage access. And while Motorhead was up playing, they had a big curtain in the middle of the stage. So like the front of the house where all the fans were and stuff couldn't, it was like a big Motorhead logo curtain. But there was a little space on the stage behind it that the fans couldn't see. We were on the side of the stage, kind of backstage area on the side of the stage, watching the show. And Lemmy Kilmister, just like the band goes into this big rip and jam, he takes his bass off and he goes around the curtain. So he's kind of like backstage, but on the stage, so nobody can see him but us, right? There's like a card table and he's got like, I don't know, remember if it's Jim Beam or some kind of maybe Jack, some kind of whiskey sitting there and an ashtray and a pack of cigarettes. And he lights up the band's still playing, guitar player. And I think Mickey D was in the band drumming then. They're just ripping, right? They're just still playing. And he's back there, lights a cigarette, takes a little break, takes a takes a drink out of his bourbon, just like while the band's playing and no one can see him, right? But we could see him and he sees us, and he points to us and he gives us the thumbs up, like, yeah, man, and cheers us. And so that was kind of just a cool moment, Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead giving us the nod backstage while he takes a whiskey cigarette break, while it's just so weird because the band's still ripping, the fans are going nuts, and he's just hanging out for a second, taking a break. It's pretty cool.
What is your worst memory from playing a show?
Worst memory, man. I mean, I don't know. We've had some pretty tough time. We've had stressful moments, where vehicles are breaking down or we're having problems. We played up in Marshfield, which is almost to Minnesota once, and we were towing the trailer behind the van and they hadn't plowed the roads and a snowstorm rolled in and we were about halfway there, and it's like backcountry roads, 2-lane kind of highway stuff. And they hadn't plowed. So it's like a foot and a half, 2 feet of snow. And we got this van, we're just going through it and we're like, man, we can't stop, we can't slow down or we're going to get stuck. Right. So it was some white knuckle driving, just really tensed up for a couple hours at about 30 miles an hour, plowing snow with our van. So that was stressful, man, because I'm like, it was freezing cold. If we'd have stopped, I think the van would have been stuck. And then so we just kept going and just kind of talking and just really nervous. That was pretty stressful. So I'd say that was kind of a on the way to a show situation. Um, you know, I fell off a bar once. I was jumped up on the bar, was standing up on the bar and singing, and I, you know, kind of slipped a little bit and fell off the bar. Took a pretty big dive. Fortunately, I was so adrenaline jacked at the time that I just jumped right up, kept playing and stuff. But that could have been pretty bad. That was scary, man. If I'd have hit my head or something.
Yeah, that
So
would have been really bad.
yeah, so that's probably another one.
The first scene of what you were talking about with the van, that sounds like a horror movie, dude. I can just picture an entire horror movie after that.
Kind of right. We get stuck somewhere. I could see that, right? Yeah,
Creature comes out of nowhere, like hunts you guys one by one.
something like that.
Yeah.
Kills the hard rock band. Yeah, something like that.
What do you do on your downtime for fun?
Oh man, I mean, like we're all into muscle cars, motorcycles, So we work on cars. We, do car cruises. I just took a motorcycle trip, with a couple guys. I ride a Victory. Buddy rides an Indian. Another buddy of mine rides a Harley. So we took like a 3-day kind of camping trip, motorcycle trips, stuff like that. You know.
What's next for you?
Next for next for me. I mean, I don't know, man. We got these shows coming up. We're gonna get back in the studio, man. I mean, like we're writing new songs. We got about 6 songs kind of in the works. A couple new ideas that need to be really, really fleshed into songs, but we'll have a new record out, I think, next year. So that's kind of what's next on my doc. I got to write these songs, man. I write the lyrics for everything, so I got to do that, come up with the melodies, and then work with the guys, and they're writing music. So that's what I'm focused on. That's what they're focused on right now.
How do my followers follow you?
Man, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. We're kind of everywhere, man. And if you can, the whole trick, we're the only Carbellion out there. We are it. So if you can spell Carbellion and type it in, you can find us on a phone or on a computer. So Carbellion, Carbellion. Just put it in, man. We're on all the major media stuff. If you want to listen to, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, you name it, man. It's all the major streaming services. QumranRecords.com, EclipseRecords.com. Yeah, we're kind of everywhere, man. Like I said, just punch it into a Google search, man. You'll find us. We're everywhere.
I have to correct you on something. You
What
said
you got?
Twitter. You said Twitter. You
Oh,
know,
what are we calling it now? X or whatever? Is that what they're
yeah.
calling it? Yeah. So
X.
technically it's X now. Yeah. So we're on X.
I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But remember, it's no more Twitter.
No more Twitter. No more Twitter. No more tweets. What do you do then? If you're not tweeting, are you Xing? I don't know. What is that? Like, I don't know.
Xing? So you're Xing someone.
Xing someone, I guess. Okay. That works. So yeah, we're doing that, man. Got that going on. TikTok. Got a TikTok recently, started doing little videos and clips and stuff. It's kind of fun.
And do you have any cool merch?
Man, we got a ton of merch, t-shirts, CDs, limited edition vinyl record that's gold, melting gold metal on a vinyl record. Super cool. You go to Bandcamp. So if you go to carbellion.bandcamp.com, that's a great place to go get all of our stuff. You can go on QumranRecords.com to buy our record as well. And actually, our record, you can go on BestBuy.com. You can go on BarnesandNoble.com. It's distributed everywhere online. But our best place to go to see everything we've got, can koozies, t-shirts, stickers, a bunch of different stuff, man. Probably carbellion.bandcamp.com.
You gotta hook up your boy with some fresh gear. I mean, it's the
I'll
first
tell
thing.
you what, bro. Shoot me your size, man. And I'll send a shirt your way. You know
I
how to
got
get a hold of me. I will
I
send you
got
a
you,
shirt.
bro.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
you a shirt. All right.
Fun question time. You're on death row and it's time for a final meal. What is on the menu?
It's Mexican food, man, for sure. I don't know. What do I get though, man? So many options. Man, I don't know. Probably camarones a la diablo. The spicy shrimp, man. Camarones a la diablo. That's what I get. Yep.
So it's death row and time is over. How are you dying? What's your execution in prison?
Like my choice, like how do I want to go?
Yeah,
If
how
I
do you
get to
want to go?
pick,
Yeah.
man, I'm thinking I don't really want to die that much, man. But I guess if I gotta go, I mean, lethal injection, go to sleep. That's what they say, right? That's probably the nice way, I guess. Probably that way, man.
I don't think that would be. What about firing squad? You would just get shot right in the head.
Yeah, but what if they're not that good a shot, man? What if it takes a couple? I don't know about that. Like, if it's Russian style, right to the back of the head, yeah, maybe something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Russian style. It's Russian style. I
That's
get
quick. That's quick. Yeah. Then maybe that plays. We'll see. Hopefully I'm not in that situation anytime soon. I've been a good boy, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you've been a good boy. You better
I've been
stay
a good
like that.
boy. Yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Oh man, that's tough. I don't know. Flying's pretty cool. That'd probably be pretty rad. Get where you're going fast, if you're going that way, or maybe super speed, same kind of thing, right? Just get somewhere, getting places fast, man. I'm into that. Like that's cool. Um, I don't think I'd want to be a mind reader, man. I don't want to know what people are thinking. Sometimes the truth is not, you don't want to know. So I don't think it'd be that. Super strength, I don't know, man. That could be cool, but I don't know. I think I'd still probably go super speed. Super speed, man. That's what it's going to be. Super speed.
Super speed. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's say you can choose any song ever written by any band and you can change that song to where you were the one who wrote it and it was your song. What song would it be and why?
Oh man, now you're throwing down the gauntlet. That's a tough one. Let's just pick a song. Let's see. Um, man, I don't know, man. That's really tough. I'll go Hotel California by the Eagles, man. And I say that because it seems everybody knows that song. Everybody knows Hotel California, man. So I mean, I think that probably that or something like that. Yeah, I guess I'll give you another one, man. Let's see. Don't Stop Believing, Journey, man. Everybody knows that song, and the girls love it, man. The girls love that cut. So I mean, that probably be another one. Wanted Dead or Alive, Bon Jovi, same thing. Everybody knows it. All the girls love it. So I don't know, man. There's so many, so many. That's too tough, man. That's too tough. That's too tough a question.
Well, thank you for being on my show. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope we talk at the backstage on one of your shows. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Don't forget, man. Shoot me that address and
I
size, and
got you.
I'll hook you up with a shirt, man.
Thank you. Have a
All
good
right.
night, bro.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks.